Hello and welcome to Global Eye. I'm Parikshit Luthra. The top story we're tracking this evening. 2 staff members of the Israeli embassy were shot and killed by a gunman outside a Jewish museum in Washington, D.C. The victims, Yaron Lishinsky and Sarah Lynn Milgram, were leaving a networking event at the museum organized by the American Jewish Committee when a man opened fire with a handgun at a group of 4 people. The suspect was identified as Elias Rodriguez, a 30-year-old from Chicago. Rodriguez was arrested by the authorities right after the incident and was heard saying, "Free Palestine," as he was being led away by the police. He has been charged with first-degree murder, as well as murder of foreign officials and related firearm charges. According to the Israeli ambassador to the United States, the 2 victims were a couple about to be engaged. U.S. President Donald Trump called the incident a horrible attack and demanded swift action to combat hate in America. Echoing the same sentiment, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu said and also linked the shooting to the 7th October 2023 attack and said he was shocked by the horrific incident. Netanyahu also said that the security will be increased at all Israeli embassies worldwide. This attack comes as Israeli forces continue to deepen their presence in Gaza. Over 50 Palestinians have been killed or are missing after an Israeli airstrike on a residential building in Gaza. Rescue operations have been stopped due to lack of heavy machinery. To take this forward, we are now joined by Kobi Shoshani, Consul General of Israel to Midwest, India. Mr. Shoshani, thank you very much for joining us on the program. Let me begin by asking you, as per the preliminary information available, what do you think were the motivations of this attack on and shooting on 2 Israeli officials, embassy officials in Washington, D.C.?
Definitely, it's a very right and very precise. The poisoning language that this pro-Palestinian organization use, they are fueling terror attacks by agenda. I have to say, they are trying to use words against the state of Israel, which I don't even want to repeat, but they are poisoning the atmosphere. But I want to tell you in a very frank way, Sarah and Yaron was a couple that is supposed to be married, as you mentioned before, very young gentlemen. What they did to go to a museum, Jewish museum in Washington, this is something that this is the real face of this terrorist, and I'm very, very sorry and send my condolences to the families.
What's been the reaction now in terms of increasing security for Israeli officials and the advice for them all across the world?
Definitely, as our Prime Minister said very, very clearly, we of course are going to tie the security around our missions all over the world. I have to say that in India, we are have a very good collaboration with the Indian authorities, and we are fully trust and fully support what they did to us, to protect us. But definitely this hatred that comes from these Palestinian groups, it's actually grow in the poisoning language that coming up from the Palestinians. I would like to add one more thing with your permission. The pro-Palestinians, I can understand them. They hate us, they like terrorism. That's part of their daily life. But the people who support them, some of them, naive, especially from the left, I have to say, in America, their agenda is a peace and everything. That's the time to say no. No to violence, no to terrorism, not to killing. And I hope that one day they will understand that they're supporting by this poisoning language, killing of innocent people.
I would also like to ask you, sir, about the present offensive in Gaza. Prime Minister Netanyahu has said that Israel will eventually take over all territories in Gaza. Could you give us a status of the operations and what is the strategy ahead?
I think Prime Minister make it very, very clear 2 days ago, or I think even last night, make it very, very clear, and I fully support. I think this is something very crucial. Bring back the hostages, disarm the capability, the military capability of Hamas, and the war going to be ended. He make it very, very clear, and that's right now in the end of the Palestinians.
Right. Now, when it comes to the current situation in the region, US and Iran are talking about a nuclear deal. If this deal is not reached, what could be the action? Because there has been a lot of reporting about how Israel could launch an attack on Iran if this nuclear deal is not arrived at. In fact, Iran has already been sending out warnings.
I think that we are fully support President Trump initiatives to settle down and to get into a deal. What I see from the Iranian side that they don't accept it, which means that the balls again it's in the hands of the Iranians. But I think that they have to be smart and to accept the deals that the American make for them. I think that it's going to be good for the region, good for the Middle East. I think Iran with the nuclear capability is a risk not to Israel. It's a risk to the world. It's a risk to Europe. It's a risk to Asia. It's a risk to United States. And I think everybody understands it.
Right. But I would like to ask you, what would be the threshold for Israel to carry out an operation on Iran? Because this could lead to a wider war in the region as well. So what is the threshold? What will be the benchmark or the point at which you will say that, yes, we're now going to carry out an operation?
I think, again, our prime minister make it very, very clear. You know, the interest, the security interest, the security issue of the state of Israel is about any government and every opposition and coalition in Israel. And I think that the Iran capability, nuclear capability, is a risk to the state of Israel. This is our focus right now. And I think that everybody understands this position.
Right. In terms of the operation against Hamas, what can we expect next from the Israeli government, from the Israeli ground forces?
I think that right now in Gaza, the Israeli military forces, the IDF, is controlling most of part of Gaza. Right now, we are controlling a very part ready to continue and deepen the operation until they're going to release the hostages. We still have 59 hostages in Israel. Some of them dead, some of them are alive. We want them back. And I think that that's the only solution to end this war. Bring them back and disarm, bring authority to Gaza, but which is not Hamas, without any military capability. Israel will not accept any military capability and risk of its security when such capability there are in Gaza like that.
Right. My final question to you would be about India. Give us a sense about the conversation that you have been having with India. One, about the situation in Gaza and Israel's operation. And number two, India-Israel cooperation over Operation Sindoor and the conflict with Pakistan.
Let me not go into a diplomatic collaboration between Israel and India. Everybody knows that Israel stands by India. I think the operation was successful in my point of view. And I think that right now everything calmed down. I think this is the right way to India as well. India needs stability. India is a superpower that's coming up in the economic field and they need stability. As you probably know, I'm a big fan of India, big friend of India. And I think that India is doing the right thing in my perspective.
Right. All right. Kobi Shoshani, thank you very much for joining us on the program on the death of Israeli embassy officials in Washington, D.C., and also Israel's operations in Gaza, and what next in terms of the country's attack on the Hamas to bring the Hamas terrorists to book and make them accountable. We're taking a short break here on Global Eye, but coming up on the other side, President Donald Trump's crackdown on immigration has gathered steam. The president's tax and spending bill has allocated billions of dollars for mass deportations. A special interview with Christopher Elms, spokesperson at the U.S. Embassy in India, after this break. Welcome back. You're watching Global Eye. US President Donald Trump has vowed to crack down on illegal immigration in America, leaving the future thousands of immigrants hanging in abeyance. Trump's expansive tax and spending bill, which has been touted as one big beautiful bill, has put the spotlight on this issue. The bill passed by the House of Representatives will allocate over $100 billion for new border enforcement measures. These will include more physical barriers and expansion of detention capacity and the hiring of additional immigration and customs officers. I caught up with Christopher Elms, spokesperson of the U.S. Embassy in India, and began by asking him about Trump's stance on immigration and the steps the U.S. government is taking to crack down on visa frauds.
The Trump administration has made this a priority of the administration. They are cracking down on illegal immigration, and they're sending a clear message to those thinking about heading to the United States illegally that it's not worth the risk. Those that head illegally will face conviction, they'll be apprehended and deported. And so the president and the administration have been pursuing efforts to secure our borders. And part of that includes our visa policy around the world, including here in India. And so on Monday, on May 19th, the administration, through the State Department, announced new visa restrictions on travel agencies that are facilitating illegal immigration. So in practical terms, the restriction is a ban on visas for travel agencies that are owners, executives, senior officials that are facilitating this illegal immigration.
Could you also give us a sense of how the U.S. government, the embassy and the diplomatic security teams are going about this exercise of identifying travel agencies or agents which are indulging in this kind of fraud or, in a way, facilitating people to cross the U.S. border illegally?
Absolutely. So it is an effort here that we're carrying out in our embassy between our visa section and our diplomatic security services. And we're looking to identify these travel agencies that we know are facilitating illegal immigration. These are agencies that are providing fraudulent passports, they're providing fraudulent visas, they're providing different travel documents, they are providing reservations and transportation logistics to people that they know are trying to go to the United States illegally. And so we're looking at that and working closely with Indian law enforcement to prosecute those that are human traffickers and smugglers. And so we do appreciate the cooperation from Indian law enforcement in protecting our borders. Secretary Rubio just said the other day in a hearing before the Senate that the only people that profit off of this trade are illegal human traffickers and smugglers. And so we are working with our counterparts here, and our diplomatic security services are looking into those that are knowingly facilitating illegal immigration.
Right. Would it be possible to give us a sense if there is already a blacklist that has been created? Are there already people and agencies which have been banned? And if yes, how many of them?
Yeah, so I can't give specific numbers due to confidentiality laws, but there are people that have already faced this restriction. So the restriction is under our Immigration and Nationality Act. It's called Section 212A3C, which we abbreviate 3C. And these 3C restrictions have already been applied to travel agencies, to executives, to owners, to senior employees, and we're going to continue to look for them. And so as we identify those that are knowingly providing fraudulent documents, we will be applying this 3C visa ban on them.
Right. What is the red flag for people? How should they identify an agency which could be trying to send them to US via illegal means? What are the kind of advertisements, videos on social media, or the kind of travel agencies one has to be wary of?
Yeah. So if you see any advertisements on social media or elsewhere of people that are explicitly advertising routes to the United States illegally, you know that they are involved in human trafficking and smuggling. If you're at a travel agency and they are offering a fraudulent passport, a fraudulent visa, they know that they are trying to facilitate an illegal movement. And so if you see that, please share that information with the U.S. Embassy or local law enforcement. These are people that are trying to prey on individuals here in India. These are agencies that are looking to take your money, and they know, as we all do right now, under the Trump administration, the United States is going to apprehend and deport folks that cross the border illegally. And so we're looking to stop these agencies from profiting off of Indians here in India.
One of the warnings that I saw on the embassy X handle was about overstaying your visa in the United States. What could be the consequences and what has changed over the last few months?
So what has changed over the last few months is a stronger enforcement effort by the United States. This is a whole of government effort. The Department of State, who issues visas, the Department of Homeland Security in the United States, that controls our border. We're working hand in hand to stop illegal immigration. What's the same is that we're looking to stop fraud everywhere. Folks cannot lie on their visa applications. If in the United States, they're overstaying their visas, if they're committing criminal acts in the United States, this is not new. These are laws that have been on the books for a long time under our Immigration and Nationality Act. Those folks are subject to deportation if they violate our laws or present fraudulent documents or have been fraudulent in what they said they'll be doing in the United States.
Right. So overstaying your visa could also mean a permanent ban from entering in future?
It can, yes. The permission on the visa, when presented to an official at a port of entry, grants a certain amount of time in the United States based on that visa. And so those that overstay it are violating the visa laws, and they could be subject to a permanent ban in the future.
Right. I'd also like to ask you, we have been reading US Embassy advisories, and they have gone on to say that please be very careful, do not submit fraudulent documents for your visa applications. They can be easily detected, and visa fraud is a punishable offense under US criminal law. Could you give us a sense of what are some of the most common examples of visa fraud or fraudulent documents which can be easily detected by the US Embassy?
We're interviewing thousands of people every day across the country. We have a consular section in New Delhi. We also have them in our consulates in Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, and Hyderabad. And so these are folks that are reviewing hundreds of applications on a daily basis. They're working in these jobs for months or years. And so fraudulent documents are easy to pick up on for our consular officers. And so when you're presenting your case at the interview, just tell the truth. It's pretty simple. Those that are going for legitimate means just need to tell the truth at the window. If you're bringing fraudulent documents, it's only hurting your cause and could result in a permanent ban.
Right. We've been seeing how the US Embassy has also been cancelling certain visa appointments. Recently, there was a message about 2,000 appointments being cancelled. Is this now a regular exercise to check if there are appointments being generated fraudulently or via bots for that matter?
You're right. We did cancel 2,000 appointments recently in March, and we've been on the lookout for bots and other programs that are trying to take away appointments for legitimate visa applicants. And I know that people are looking to get their visa appointments in a fair way, and we're looking to make sure that our system allows for that. So we are looking out for cases where we identify irregularities in the appointment system. And where we do, we are canceling those appointments and putting bans on those that have applied for those appointments.
Right. My final two questions, Chris. One would be on the larger issue of immigration and deportation. The US has deported over 680 Indians back to India over the last few months. This is an ongoing conversation. Could you give us a sense of what is the objective and what are the two countries trying to achieve right now on that front?
Yeah, the objective is simple, that those that came to the United States illegally are heading back to their countries. Those that we have apprehended, we are now deporting, and we're working with countries around the world, including India, to take back the citizens that went illegally. And so as we talk with the government of India, we appreciate the stance that we're looking to secure our borders in both countries. And the government of India understands that. And we will continue to work with the government of India and in the United States in apprehending those that have come illegally. When they're identified as Indian citizens, we'll work to send them back to India.
My final question would be now about legal migration and legal travel to the US, either for work or for student visas or for business for that matter. Both countries have said that while we'll crack down together on illegal immigration, we will also support avenues for legal migration into the United States. In the last 3 months, have things changed in terms of how visas are processed for students, for business owners, for individuals, for tourists, or for those going on H-1B or work visas to the US? Are there other issues or background checks that are now conducted? Are there things that people should keep in mind, Chris?
So we continue to welcome legitimate travelers to the United States. We're excited that next year, the United States, together with Canada and Mexico, is going to host the World Cup. We expect plenty of international visitors coming for that. And so what we're really focused on is illegal immigration to the United States. And so over the past few months, there has been an increased emphasis under this administration of those that came illegally or are trying to go illegally. And so the actions that we're taking in India largely reflect those that are trying to go illegally. And if they are receiving support from a travel agent, if they are presenting fraudulent documents, they're presenting fraudulent visas, passports, other things like that, that's what we're trying to stop. And so as we continue to welcome legitimate travelers, the last 3 months, there has been an increased focus on cracking down on those going illegally.
All right. Thanks very much, Chris, for joining us. Let's take a look at some other headlines. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal has said that he had a constructive meeting with US Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick for a mutually beneficial trade agreement. In a post on X, Goyal said that both countries are committed to enhancing opportunities for their businesses and people. This was their second meeting within a week to discuss a proposed bilateral trade agreement between the two nations. Both sides are looking at finalizing an interim trade pact by the 9th of July. The Trump administration has revoked Harvard University's certificate to enroll international students. The university has just 72 hours to comply with 6 federal demands to regain its eligibility. The demands include giving the Trump administration access to all records of illegal activity by non-immigrant students in the past 5 years. If the university fails to comply, it means that thousands of current students must transfer to other schools or leave the country. This action comes after the government terminated the $2.7 million in grants for Harvard last month. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Global Eye. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to CNBC TV 18 for more news and updates.